The stunning hypocrisy of the regressive left is growing every day. They have long since lost the plot, lost all perspective on what exactly they stand for, and violence has only escalated over the past year with no end in sight. They insist that every woman deserves the protection of feminism, every minority deserves the protection of social justice, and every gay person deserves the protection of the LGBT rights movement. That is, of course, until they do or say anything that conflicts with the social justice narrative. They sing the praises of democracy, declaring that the will of the people should come first, until that same democratic process results in the election of someone who is not a regressive liberal. Even when the DNC sabotages its own chances at every turn, they still refuse to acknowledge their own party's shortcomings. They'd sooner blame a hypothetical Russian hacker or some prevalent white supremacist sentiment in the absence of all evidence. They simply double down on their narrative, certain that saying it enough times will eventually make it true, all the while being blissfully ignorant of the glaring hypocrisy in their every violent act. And among this raging clusterfuck, I can't help but notice just how many of these writers' faces belong to the white males they so love to condemn. The very name progressive, paired with their endless moral posturing and sense of entitlement, implies that they believe that theirs is the political philosophy of growth and betterment. And yet, even a cursory glance of history will show that they have ultimately come full circle in contradicting the legacy they claim to uphold, and are by far the most susceptible to the rhetorical traps that have resulted in the worst of historical human travesties. 52 years ago, UC Berkeley was host to another series of protests that sparked this stick-it-to-the-man mentality, which persists even now. But the core values behind those protests have since been lost in the swell of special pleading and entitlement, which amounts to the same old bigotry in a shiny new package. The Sheraton Palace demonstration, which basically got the whole thing started, was over perceived racism in the hotel's hiring practices. And while the necessity of affirmative action quotas remains questionable at best in today's political environment, at the time, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words concerning blacks walking hand in hand with whites still rang with significance. Since then, it's become less about the advancement of minorities and more about the suppression of whites. Any and all venues with a noticeable lack of melanin content in its cast, regardless of how many people of color did or didn't apply to fill those seats, will be subject to the unfettered wrath of these social justice simpletons who wear their racist quote-unquote solidarity and white guilt like a fashion statement. The 1960s UC Berkeley protests were suppressed by a campus-wide ban of political activism, particularly at the corner of Bancroft and Telegraph. And in refusing to be silenced, the response of the student group of the day was to set up a table in front of the Sproul Hall in direct defiance of the order. For this, their campus chairman, Jack Weinberg, was arrested. While I can respect standing up to the abuse of power, this mentality has since devolved into an infuriating sense of entitlement that is spread through students throughout the West. They believe that they are entitled to dictate to the heads of their respective universities how they should be run and even what the purpose of a university is, to the point where any given special snowflake can feel perfectly comfortable shrieking in the face of the dean at one of the most respected Ivy League institutions in the country. And for this crass insolence, there is a shocking shortage of campus authority willing to make examples of these spoiled brats.
Your position as master, it is your job to create a place of comfort and home for the students that live in Silliman. You have not done that. By sending out that email, that goes against your position as master. Do you understand that? Then
no, I don't agree with that.
Then why the fuck did you accept the position?
Because
Who the fuck hired you?
I have a different
You
vision
should
than you.
step down. If that is what you think about being a master, you should step down.
In the wake of shitstorms like this one, when the bigger channels out there are covering it so quickly, it's tough to know what exactly I can contribute to the conversation that hasn't already been said. I'm only permitted a brief duration of stunned silence before I lose my opportunity to speak up about it with an acceptable measure of punctuality. And then, in Sargon of Akkad's coverage of the issue, I saw this.
And I would just like to say that in light of all that's going on in the world today, it's difficult to celebrate the already celebrated Stranger Things. But this award from you, who take your craft seriously and earnestly believe, like me, that great acting can change the world, is a call to arms from our fellow craftsmen and women to go deeper, and through our art to battle against fear, self-centeredness, and exclusivity of our predominantly narcissistic culture, and through our craft to cultivate a more empathetic and understanding society by revealing intimate truths that serve as a forceful reminder to folks that when they feel broken and afraid and tired, they are not alone. We are united in that we are all human beings and we are all together on this horrible, painful, joyous, exciting, and mysterious ride that is being alive. Now, as we act in the continuing narrative of Stranger Things, we 1983 Midwesterners will repel bullies. We will shelter freaks and outcasts, those who have no homes. We will get past the lies. We will hunt monsters. And when we are at a loss amidst the hypocrisy and the casual violence of certain individuals and institutions, we will, as per Chief Jim Hopper, punch some people in the face when they seek to destroy the meek and the disenfranchised and the marginalized. And we will do it all with soul, with heart, and with joy. We thank you for this responsibility. Thank you.
Right out of the gate, I will say that I like the first season of Stranger Things. I found it to be a breath of fresh air in my preferred genre. I even intended to give it a review, but after having seen this, I can't do that in good conscience, because I refuse to praise actors who are clearly pandering to the lowest common denominator out of obvious fear of the feminist hate mob. I think this world can do with fewer Joss Whedon clones, especially when they intend to bring the impressionable children beneath them along for the ride. The one mildly amusing part of this video was the demented faces Winona Ryder kept making throughout David Harbour's bloviating diatribe. I don't know if it was because the whole topic made her nervous, or because she disagreed on some level, but I'd like to hope it's the latter. And speaking of performers who refuse to play ball with this social justice nonsense, I have to give a plug to the hilarious comedian Bill Burr. His newest special, Walk Your Way Out, just debuted on Netflix a couple of days ago, and I think it's his best yet. Just wait for the bit about solving the population crisis by hunting cruise ships. I swear, I had to rewind that part several times. It had me in fucking tears. It's clear that the rabid feminist mob does make him nervous to some degree, as he does throw the left a few softballs from time to time, but it's also clear that he will only ever meet these people halfway, if at all, and shows no sign of having a problem with calling out their insanity when he sees it. He's been one of my top 3 favorite comedians for the past few years now, and this newest special cements that position in my eyes. I follow his podcast as well, and I would strongly recommend anyone who follows me here to do the same. The man has my respect, and deserves yours too. Links in the description. In conclusion, these special snowflakes are in no way the modern bearers of the civil rights torch that they like to think that they are. They claim to stand up for freedom of expression, yet they spare no effort in attempting to silence anyone who doesn't agree with them. They claim to be for the protection and rights of victims, yet they spare no efforts in attempting to justify the violent victimization of anyone who fails to assimilate with their hive mind, including those same people they label as disparaged with the soft bigotry of low expectations. These protesters are nothing more than common thugs, and they do not deserve the respect associated with their forebears.